but let's see this up here. So on 3, 2, 1. Okay, so first of all, that was an impromptu, quick phone call that you took, and kudos to you. Having a big old camera in your face, and unexpected taking the phone out. But I want to kind of go through a couple things that I just heard. Okay. So if you were going to grade that phone call from 1 to 10, 10 being the best it could be, now before she even raised herself, she made the appointment. So let's give her that, which is awesome. How would you rate the phone call?
7.
7. Okay. I would think I'd say about
6.5.
6.5, 7. I'd agree, but tell us why. Let's go through the stuff that you think that you missed or you forgot or you went through.
Well, I normally work with the scripts around me, and I didn't have that. I kept looking around. I wasn't in my normal space.
Right.
I think it sounded scripted a little bit. And
no, actually, I got to tell you right now, you sounded fabulous.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the first thing that I love, and even though I know I'm from the north and like that, first of all, I love the accent. I'm sure that everybody else around here, that's normal, but you sounded awesome. You sounded sincere. So nothing about the way you sounded threw off anything. But for the process, here's the thing.
I didn't ask him if he had purchased a car online before.
No, you didn't have to do that. But here's the thing. It's the details, okay? Because at the end of the day, we could always make an appointment, right?
Right.
But the goal is not to make appointments, and the goal is not to ask for appointments. The goal is not to set appointments. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you right now, the goal is to sell appointments. And the things you have to remember is identify, meet, and exceed. Identify, meet, and exceed. So you started off, you qualified that person. But what I felt, there are a couple little things. One, you didn't transition properly. And let's go back. So let's walk us through the phone call. So when you answer the phone, you answer it the correct way. And the prospect, what was his name?
Lester Haynes.
And what was he looking for?
A $7,000 car.
They were paging y'all.
A $7,000 Tahoe.
Right. Did you, and like you said, you caught it. Did you purchase from here before? We didn't ask him that, which is okay, because think about it, that's qualified information that might have helped us. If you turn around and ask him, has he purchased a vehicle from our dealership before, etc. You did ask him, where did he find out about us, correct? Because he said some websites. What happened there? Because we couldn't hear.
Well, I think that he must be a lead that we have this morning.
Okay.
And I think he may have put something in on Credit Jockey.
Okay.
His concerns to me when we initially started the call seemed to be more about the price of our vehicles. Right. Which was why I brought up the 3 dealerships. I do that sometimes to
let me jump in right there. I caught that. So here's the thing. Some of the rebuttals, because they're not memorized, aren't as powerful or as polished as they could be. Folks, you sound great, but even sounding great with not the right substance. One of the things that should be really easy is if I had said to him, listen, if we weren't able to get you the absolute, best possible deal, we would never expect you to buy a vehicle from us. Again, pricing is never an issue here. We assure you that we have a tremendous amount of vehicles that fit every budget and situation range. That's okay. I'm not even critiquing that too much. You did okay. I think you at your caliber, you could have so much more, because I know what you're capable of. The thing that I'm concerned about is that, where is the value package?
I didn't build value in my appointment.
Okay, now here's the thing. Someone like that, he's got credit concerns. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, these people, nothing wrong with them, but they're possibly going to multiple sources because they're desperate to get, a car. And what people might think is that people with credit are going to just run into the showroom. Not necessarily, because, they're nervous, they're this, and they're so used to getting turned down and abused, they're roaches, bogues, all sorts of crazy things at dealerships. So I didn't hear you gravitate to say anything about how we specialize in people that have less than perfect credit. I would have transitioned to something right there, something to the effect of, listen, we work with a myriad of banks and lending institutions, and again, literally between our inventory and all the different banks that we're partnered with, we can assure you that there's programs that can fit your budget range. Getting you finance is not going to be an issue whatsoever. But let me tell you what we do to go above and beyond. A, getting you a vehicle at the absolute best deal. B, besides getting you financed at the absolute best rate, let me share with you what we do to go above and beyond for all of our customers here at Chronic. And this is the opportunity for you to be able to explain what is different and better about your organization than anybody else. The only thing I would say, not in a bad way, but the only thing I would say here is that I didn't hear anything that any other local dealership could say differently. There's nothing that separates Chronic Chevrolet from ABC XYZ Motors off of that phone call, except how nice and sweet and sincere you sounded, which is very important. That's why you didn't get a 4 or 5. But what we want to do, folks, is remember, you guys are good, but there's a small difference from good to great. And you know, we talked about this the other day. Jim Collins says good is the enemy of great.
That's
good
right.
is the enemy of great. There's a lot of good dealerships, there's a lot of good reps out there, but you want to aspire for greatness. To be truly great, you've got to be willing to do the things that the average dealership isn't willing to do, legally, morally, ethically speaking. It's the details. That's all it is. It's just the little details. So now, again, in that situation, I would have just turned around and mentioned all the wonderful things. But at the end of the day, you made the appointment.
And I'm going to get in here because
Yes.
I've been studying Bradley on Demand, the advanced credit responses, and a lot of times when I'm TO'd for a credit app, guess what?
What?
I don't take a credit app. I
Good.
just get the appointment confirmed.
Absolutely.
Because I have them believe in, you know, we do use the 3 dealerships a lot. Do you think that's okay?
Here's what I would like to do first.
Because we say it gives us access to more banks and this and
We'll
that.
go through them. Here's what I would do first. Again, before I studied multiple languages. This is a true story. I studied Russian at Rider University. But before I studied how to read and write Russian and Cyrillic, you know, alphabet, I learned the English alphabet first. What I'm saying here is go through, make sure your team has memorized the outbound phone call process, memorize the inbound phone call process, and at least memorized, we give you 95 word tracks on Bradley Man, at least memorize just 5 of those.
Each.
The 5 ones that they want, because there's at least 10 to 15 different rebuttals for each of the main reasons. So once you've memorized at least my outbound, inbound, at least 5 of my word tracks, you can memorize anything else you want, but then at least I know that you have the basic stuff that I need you to have. But the most important thing is that I want you to be as uncomfortable as possible for one reason, you know, because when we're not here, you're in your zone, you feel comfortable. The worst it'll ever be is what it was just now, where there's a big old camera and the CEO of a national company right there. But think about
I'm like, great, I'm being put on the spot.
But you know what, though? The good news, though, is that's as hard as it's ever going to get. It will never get harder than that.
That's good.
You got to remember, the worst thing you do is hang up the phone. So what I want you to do is to get a little bit uncomfortable now when we're training. That way, when it is live, it's going to be like second nature. Does that make sense, everybody?
Yes.
Okay, cut for this one. Let's go from here. Next move.